Thank you for joining us this morning, Tom.
It's okay.
Our first speaker of the year. No pressure. Um, so while doing my prep for this morning, I came across a quote online that running just to keep fit is a wasted opportunity. Is this something you'd agree with now that you've been involved with the Good Gym? And can you give us an overview of how the Good Gym is different to other fitness groups out there?
Yeah. Firstly, good morning, everyone. It's lovely to be invited. So thank you for inviting me to this event. So I would absolutely agree with that statement. And yeah, Good Gym is all about staying active, keeping healthy, and putting energy into the community. They don't own any premises. They don't have buildings. They don't have indoor activity centres. Instead, our treadmills are wheelbarrows, and we run on the streets, and we use open space to get our exercise. And that energy, instead of lifting weights, is used to help the wider community, and those people will be charities, elderly people who are struggling to do physical tasks, or local non-for-profit organisations. So it is very much about getting fit, or staying active, but really kind of helping the community and not wasting that energy on a electric treadmill.
The Good Gym operates for people kind of at all levels of fitness, from those who potentially would keel over if they tried to go out for a run, it's been that long, to people who compete in ultra marathons, such as yourself. But do you cater for people with different abilities? So people, say, with visual impairments or physical disabilities, can they still take part in your missions and activities?
Yeah, Good Gym is constantly trying to be inclusive. So the original premise of Good Gym, it started off as a running club, just because that was kind of the easy way to get fit, and it started with a very small number of people. Now it's a significant size across the country. There are various ways that Good Gym help the community. So some of it is based around running, but you don't have to be a runner. So our club consists of people who struggle to run a 5K, like I did before I started, to people who, we had one chap who's now run the Peak District boundary and has broken the record. So that's a whole of the Peak District National Park. So that kind of gives you an indication of the variety of people that it caters for. And it really kind of complements people's individual achievement. So it's not like any other sort of fitness club where you may join a running club and you feel quite intimidated, and everyone's kind of competing internally. It's all about individuality. It doesn't have to be running as well. So we've started doing walking. There are also opportunities if you can't physically walk the distance to the venue that we're going to do the task to help a particular charity. You can meet us there, and some of it is more accessible than other events. So it does offer a broad spectrum of opportunities for a number of people, depending on their ability. And just before lockdown, Good Gym was trying to be more inclusive, but obviously that's all got halted now. But when things start to open up again and we start to do our group sessions again, hopefully we will be able to make a bit more progress and being a bit more inclusive.
So I know the Good Gym, it has, in before times, had 4 different types of kind of mission or task that people could do. Could you just explain kind of what they were and how you've had to adapt your work and how you operate because of COVID?
Yeah, so there are kind of 4 main elements to Good Gym. You've got the group run, which is probably the most well known. So that is essentially the kind of the core weekly thing that Good Gym used to do. So we used to meet at the showroom on a Monday evening at about 6:30 as a group. There used to be about 30 people that turned up to that on average. And then from there, we used to run to a local charity, which would be no more than 15 minutes away. And then we carry out a task for that charity. So if you can imagine a small charity in Sheffield who really struggle with resources, and they have a group of 30 people turn up and carry out whatever task it is they need for an hour. It's quite incredible, actually, what they can achieve. 30 people in an hour. It's almost, if anyone watches is it 60-minute makeover program or changing rooms, it's that kind of thing that happens, really. It's quite, if it's set up properly on the night, it's quite amazing what can be done in that time. We have literally changed an entire office space, ripped it out, repainted it, and put the furniture back within the space of an hour. So it is, if you utilize this resource as a local charity, it's amazing what we can do for you. So those group runs obviously can't happen at the minute, just because we can't have groups of people. So that's kind of been put on hold. We do also do coach visits. So a coach visit is essentially an elderly and isolated member of the community who have been recommended to us by Age UK. So the idea is that we get inspired on a weekly basis and motivated to run to an elderly person's house and have a conversation, have a cup of tea, be that point of contact for them to break up their week and to check in on their progress and their mental health and physical health. We can't do that face to face now, but what we do is we ring them on a weekly basis. So if you want to be part of Good Gym, that you don't have to do that, but some people are paired with somebody. So there's a very complex interview process that Good Gym centrally sort out, which makes it a lot easier for us. They will pair us with an elderly and isolated person based on our likes, dislikes, common ground, views on politics, all that kind of thing, to make sure we have quite almost a good relationship from the get-go. So we can still do that, but it is very much a phone call now, or FaceTime if people are comfortable with that. So that still goes ahead, and that's really important because we'll notice things that changes in their personality, in their character, which other people won't see because they don't necessarily have any other form of communication with people other than their carers. So and we can flag anything if there's anything we're concerned about to Age UK, to professionals. So that's a really good service that we offer. We also do two things called missions and community missions. So a mission is where we would go and help, again, someone in the community who's elderly and isolated to do a physical task. So that could be cutting their lawn, could be painting a wall, it could be changing a light bulb, something that they would physically struggle with and wouldn't have anyone really to help them do that. So that could be essentially two people who would run and do that task. It could be moving furniture. I've been, I think the last one I did was I went to someone's house to help move furniture so they could install a hospital bed because their partner was coming out of hospital but needed a bit more care. So we made space for the hospital bed for when the NHS came to install it. And then the community missions have kind of taken over the whole that the group runs left. So they are helping charities. So any charity in Sheffield that needs help, they can request through our website, and then we will try and coordinate a task. And they're a bit more flexible. So instead of just being on a Monday evening with 30 runners, it can be any time throughout the week, Monday to Friday, or the weekends, and it can be 2 to 10 people. We can keep the groups really small, and we can kind of be a bit more specific about what we can do, and they can be quite regular. So it doesn't have to be a big hit of 30 people. It can be 3 people with 5 visits to complete an element of work. So they've kind of taken over that group element. So they were just introduced last year. So that has kind of helped us to support the community a bit better whilst we can't do the group runs.
And have you found that these missions have kind of helped you and helped other people in your chapter kind of manage lockdown better by kind of giving you something positive to focus on every week or every other week, and also keeping you connected with people as well?
Yeah, so Good Gym is all about helping others, but I think we often forget how much it helps ourselves. And there's a lot of people that have Good Gym's always quite open about mental health and things, and there's a lot of people who have struggled throughout lockdown, but Good Gym has always been that kind of one constant that's in their routine of daily life throughout lockdown. And the fact that we've still got things that we can do to support people and feel like we can really kind of play a part through this pandemic. So there has been stuff we can do to support people, and just helping people who are struggling. So whether that bringing food parcels, doing a bit of shopping, who are people who are isolating, picking up subscriptions, all that kind of thing we've been able to do. But there's a lot of social. So it's very much a volunteer organisation, and most of the stuff is that we do, and the socials is all organised by volunteers. So we've people have really kind of stepped up this year, because we would have had pub quizzes, gone for walks, gone for social runs, gone climbing, gone cycling, all that kind of thing. So some of those things have happened as and when, depending on the restrictions we've had imposed upon us. But there's been loads of virtual events. So on a Monday, where we used to have our group run, we have a regular Zoom. So that started out as a quiz. We soon got bored of those, as everyone has, but we've turned those into all sorts of things. So we've had they've done a yoga night. They've done various other activities. We've had TED Talks. So next Monday, we're doing a TED Talk, and it's down to, so there's 3 people speaking. I'll be one of them, and my talk will be on the history of the Peak District National Park. And then someone else will be doing something on, I think, on fitness, and there'll be another talk on something completely random. We've also had a lot of Skillshare events as well. Just kind of all of us kind of sharing our skills as a bit of a community and trying to teach other people. So there's been knitting, various crafts, spoon carving, all sorts of things, which has been fantastic, really. So there is a huge benefit to us as members. It's I think the helping others and feeling like you're really kind of playing a part in the community is very rewarding. And I think, when I originally joined Good Gym a few years ago, I didn't realize at the time, but I was struggling a little bit with my mental health. And just being part of this and investing so much into the community and having such a nice group of like-minded people around you, and the fact that the way Good Gym works, in the fact that it does support individual sort of achievements. So, it doesn't matter how fast you run a 5K, or whether you can run the whole 5K, or you have to walk a part of a 5K. If people will recognize whether that's a good achievement for you personally, and then people are really really supportive.
It must, at a time at the moment when everyone is just kind of feeling powerless, and for a lot of people, all we can do is just stay indoors, and that's us doing our bit. It must be lovely to just to have that feeling, that to know that you're kind of going out there and you are helping people. You're making the effort to make a difference. I mean, even if it is just going into someone's house and changing the light bulb, but for them that's a big help. Or for helping the food banks and things, it must kind of be anchoring as well. Must really help you a lot.
Yeah, and you get a lot of pride through it, and we do a lot of. I never thought I'd be so obsessed with litter picking, as daft as it sounds, but we spent a lot of time doing working with groups like Sustrans who maintain the cycle network and litter picking. And what we found in lockdown is the one thing we can do and maintain social distance is grab a pair of litter pickers and a dustbin bag and walk around your local streets and help keep on top of the litter. And it's funny, like, who would actively want to go out and do that and take enjoyment out of it. But I think in these strange times, just even that simple task of the fact that you've got a group of people and that is normal behavior, but doing that and just helping your local area a little bit makes you feel like you've got some purpose to life at the minute, when you've kind of locked down and some people are furloughed and haven't got anything else to do.
Imagine you were kept busy with the litter picking at that time of the summer when they lifted lockdown and everyone was going to the parks, and it just seemed like everyone had just lost their mind. And it's just I won't get Molly and I started on that because it's a trigger for us. But just seeing the pictures of the litter just all over the park.
Yeah, and we did organise, and we didn't get in touch with the council or anything. We saw all the issues in the parks, so as a community, we just we talked in our group chat, and we just organised a couple of days to go, and we visited 3 or 4 parks in Sheffield in groups, and we just did massive litter picks, put them in bin bags, put them next to the bins, and then just phoned the council to let them know that we cleared the parks. And it's just taking that, initiative, and when you see something, I think we're now in a position where we feel like if we see something that is not right, we can help and do something about it.
Have you noticed over lockdown, obviously a lot of people, they've had to kind of exercise outside, so there's a lot more joggers on the road and things. And it's been publicised that there has been an increase in the number of people getting involved with volunteering and wanting to help their community. Have you noticed that there has been an increase kind of nationally and locally with the people that are contacting the Good Gym and wanting to get involved over this time?
Yeah, there has been an increase. I don't know the numbers, but I can see it from our group chats that there's new faces and new names popping up. So we have had an increase, and I think people find it's been really good because it is an instant motivation. If you join Good Gym, I can't express that enough. I was very skeptical when I joined Good Gym, if I'm honest. People were very, talking about it, how amazing it was, and I was like, is it really? It just sounds like a very strange running club who pick up litter. But we have increased our membership base, and just to point out on that, it is free to join Good Gym. It's not like a gym where you have a very expensive monthly membership bill that you regret when it comes round 3 months in and you've not used it. You can join Good Gym for free. You can also choose to donate if you wish, because it is a charity. It's a very unusual charity in the fact that we spend all our time doing work for other charities rather than ourselves. So obviously, income wise, we kind of rely on either members offering to make a monthly donation or grant funding. So there's no obligation to pay, and Good Gym make a real point of making sure that should not be a barrier for people to join. If you do join, you get and become a member, you get a free T-shirt, which I was trying to get on to show the branding earlier, but it doesn't appear to be on the camera. But it has increased, and it's quite, people just slot in straight away when they join. They're instantly on a Zoom and chatting and joining a local litter pick, or helping someone else in the community.
Can you tell us what's been your favourite mission so far since you've been involved, or the one that stayed with you anyway, or meant the most to you?
Yeah, there's a couple. So I guess there's One of them was the Arch project in Sheffield. So this was the first one that I did, and they had, it was over winter, and they had a huge amount of clothes donated to them for the homeless. And I'm talking a church hall full of clothes, like it was a huge amount. And we turned up, and you could kind of see like there's just this big pile of just bin bags with unsorted clothes, and two volunteers who obviously were really struggling to go through them, and those clothes couldn't be donated to get to where they needed to go to the homeless without somebody sorting them out. It's not just a case of giving someone a bin bag of clothes. They had to sort them into sex, into size. They had to sift out items that weren't appropriate or weren't usable anymore. And we went in, and we as a group of about 25, 30 runners, and we went in, and within the space of an hour, we'd done about a month's work for them and sorted out all these clothes into trousers, tops, coats, men's, women's, small, medium, large. So, and that was my first experience, and I was like, wow, this is, quite impressive. And, we found it incredibly rewarding. And then I guess the other one that I did was one that was for a charity called Cruise in Sheffield. So Cruise, for those that don't know, is like a children's bereavement centre, and they basically offer counselling for children who have lost people, mothers, fathers, family members. And they have, or they did have, some offices in the centre of town which were not in the best condition. And as you can imagine, for a child who's struggling and going through quite a traumatic experience, sat in a dilapidated office building in Sheffield, trying to talk about your feelings when there's paint falling off the walls, and it's just not very inviting and not a good environment. So we went in. They essentially just had a load of cans of paint, and we went in. We moved all the furniture. We painted all the walls in multiple rooms. We cleaned the entire place and put the furniture back. And within the space of like I said before, it is very much like that 60-minute makeover program, and made it into such a nice space, bright, clean, colourful, and that I think that was one of my favourite tasks too, because you could instantly see that there's a huge benefit. But we've also worked on larger projects. So just another one that we helped was CAD's Aberdale Picture House, and helping to renovate Aberdale Picture House. That was a long-standing project, so we used to go there at least once a month to help the renovation in there. But obviously that was a slower thing to develop because it was so huge.
Yeah. How do you think 2021 is going to look for the Good Gym, kind of as a result of COVID?
I think it highlights the need for charities like Good Gym more than ever. There's going to be there's so many charities out there, and that I've really struggled this year. The food banks have been inundated. There's children's education and welfare services is really struggling. So there's going to be a lot for these charities to do and to try and facilitate the needs of the local communities. And this is where Good Gym can really kind of shine and really support the local community. We can come with that workforce. We can help deliver that workload, and also just the isolation of the elderly has increased massively throughout lockdown. Obviously, people have been protecting themselves, and loneliness is a big issue, and it was a big issue before this, and it's a bigger issue now. And I don't think we'll fully understand the extent of that until after lockdown and this pandemic, really. But that's another area that Good Gym supports, and that's one of our core areas. Checking in on elderly people who are struggling. So Good Gym's it's got to grow. It needs to grow. The community need it. So I think that's where the focus is going to be, really trying to increase the numbers and increase the support that we can give the local community, and making sure people know we're there. So anyone can request our help. You just need to log onto the website. It could be an individual or it could be an organisation. As long as it's a non-for-profit, then we'll try and accommodate those needs.
Okay, thank you. That was my last question. So if anyone has any questions for Tom, if you just want to fire them through on the chat. I had actually was going to ask how do organisations go about asking for help on the Good Gym, but you answered it just there. That was going to be a question I was going to ask.
Yeah, it's just on the website. So if you it's either Google Good Gym Sheffield, or it's goodgym.org is the website, and it's a dead easy website to navigate. You can see there's like basically just a big button that says would you like to join, and another button that says would you like to request help.
So I think Karen's asked a few questions, Molly.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Over to you, Karen.
So, I've got 3 questions. So how do you refer somebody into the service if you knew somebody that needed help?
So you can get in touch with us direct through the website, but we tend to deal with Age UK. So if you speak to Age UK, they tend to recommend people. So it depends what help you want. If it's what we call a coach visit, which is that weekly check-in and check-up, Age UK are the charity that we are partnered with. So I would speak to Age UK for that service. If it's just to help out with a physical task, so doing a bit of decorating, moving furniture, helping cut the grass, you can get in touch with us direct through the website on that one.
Those are the things that often crop up, because I work on the Cancer Information Hub in the Moor Market, but it's shut at the moment. But we get a lot of people who come in and they've got questions about cancer, but then they've got a practical thing and they just can't get any help. And it just might be one fettle of their garden while they're going through treatment or something, which would be really helpful for them, because you just can't get help anymore unless you pay for it.
And that's it. And
so that would be great.
We're not, I want to point out, we are not professional landscape gardeners or anything, but actually,
no, they don't mind that.
Yeah, we do
getting rid of this overwhelming.
Yeah, we do have some
grass grows quickly, doesn't it? And it soon overtakes you.
Yeah.
Okay, did you have one more question, Karen?
I said, how could us creatives help the Good Gym? Seeing as it's all creatives here, what sort of creative help would you like?
It will be, I guess, the thing that we would really like to do is to constantly reach out to charities. So sometimes my frustration is, so there's I guess there's 2 tiers of volunteering. So there's our regular volunteers, and then there's a few volunteers who've kind of stepped up to what we call task force, which is to help with the organisation of things a little bit more, and coordination of tasks and helping charities. And sometimes the most difficult thing is finding charities that need our help. So we have lots of enthusiastic people, and we can always do more. So it's trying to find creative ways of getting in touch with people and letting them know that we're here to help, and there's so much good that we can do. But also creative ways of, I guess, inspiring people to join in the first place, to increase those numbers so we can achieve more, or just getting involved yourselves and coming down and helping us do some really good stuff for the community.
Well, thanks, Tom. I don't know if you've got any more questions that have come through.
No, I don't think.
I'll hand over to you, Leanne.
Yeah, I don't think I spotted any more questions. Well, I think that's it question-wise. So thank you very much for joining us, Tom. That was just a great way to start the new year, a nice positive way to start the new year. Hopefully you'll be able to get some new people signing up as a result of this, and we'll be able to spread the word, get it, and we've been sharing you on our social media channels as well, so that's a creative way of letting people know you're there. So I guess I'll kind of wrap up the event now until next month. If you've got an urge to watch another Creative Mornings, there are other Creative Mornings going on all around the world that you can tune into. So if you want to kind of check out the Creative Mornings homepage, they'll be able to direct you to other online events. And we'll be announcing next month's theme and speaker next week or so. So that's exciting. And if you have any suggestions for anything you'd like to see in our events, just let us know. And again, I'd appreciate it if you could spare a couple of minutes just to fill in that questionnaire. But thank you again for joining us, Tom, for giving us your time this morning. We really appreciate it. They were very, very clear, very thorough and informative answers. I think we've all come out of it with a really good insight into the valuable work that the Good Gym does, kind of in ordinary times, and especially now with everything that is going on. And kind of I wish you luck and health as well for this year. I mean, I say that I'm clearly full of cold. I need health, but yeah, it sounds it kind of you're going to be kept busy for the rest of this year and going forward as well.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, thank you for joining, for inviting me to join this session today. But yeah, and if anybody does want to join Good Gym or has got a few more questions, I'm sure my details will be shared, and they've been shared on Twitter. So please do drop me a message and don't feel intimidated. It's not a running club. You don't have to be able to, run far or run at all to join.
Okay, yeah, Molly's just shared your Twitter there in the chat. But yeah, okay, I'll call it a day there. Thank you. So thank you everyone for tuning in again this month. Really appreciate especially our regulars. And I'll say goodbye for this month and see you next month if I survive this cold.